Hey everybody, it's Dana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making a rainbow background. I am really hooked on this rainbow foil, so I thought I would share how I made this background. We're going to grab some Nina Solar White cardstock and another piece of that DecoFoil and a beautiful stencil. This background is really easy to make, and I'm going to show you, but we're not going to waste this foil. We want to make sure that we keep every single gorgeous piece of this stuff. So we're going to use an X-acto knife to trim it down. So I just want to move out my craft mat out of the way because obviously I don't want to cut that, and I'm just going to cut on my self-healing mat. So I just line up my cardstock. I don't have to be perfect on this, but I just want to make sure that I'm saving as much of the foil and not wasting it. And the reason I use an X-acto knife is because if you have ever used this foil and you try to use a pair of scissors with it, it will want to curl up on itself, and it's just kind of difficult to cut with a pair of scissors. So using an X-acto knife makes it a little bit easier to cut and to not waste a lot of this foil. So I'm just going to tear that off and set that aside, and now we can go ahead and get busy making this card. So now we have just enough to cover that panel, and I'm going to go ahead and bring back in that craft mat, and we can go ahead and get busy. So I'm going to set that aside, and now I'm going to bring back in that stencil. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go sideways with this design. Now, like again I said, this is super easy to do. I'm going to grab another makeup sponge. So if you didn't see the video that I did earlier using this foil and glue, I'm going to go ahead and link that up here in the corner, and you can watch that video. I've done several of these videos, so I'll go ahead and link all the videos in the description box below because I really love this technique. It's super easy to do, and you can do it with any stencil or stamp set. And I have found that it works with multiple glues as well. So I'll go ahead and make sure that I list them. This is the Art Glitter Glue. This has become one of my favorite glues to use. The only thing about this, I videoed this in the winter months, so this is January of 2017 when I'm making this video. And from what I am told, the company will not ship this glue during the winter months because I guess it freezes. So the company will not directly ship this, but I did hear that Amazon will ship this glue. So just keep that in mind, okay? So as you can see, all I'm doing is taking some of that glue and pouncing it down through the stencil. Now you don't need a lot of glue with this because the first thing you don't want to do is have the glue seep underneath the stencil. So I'm just slightly pouncing down. I'm just going to grab a little bit off of that bottle because I don't want to waste any of that glue. And you see I'm not going directly from the glue. I'm patting it down a little bit onto the craft mat and then patting it onto the stencil. So I'm just dabbing it off onto the craft mat first, and then I'm bringing the glue onto the stencil. So I'm just making sure I have a good even coverage. It's okay if you miss a couple of spots because it kind of gives a really nice distressed look to your background. So I'm just going to get a little bit more. See how I pat that off before I bring it to the stencil because I don't want a big glop of glue because, again, I don't want it to seep underneath the stencil. Just going to make sure I have a pretty good coverage on there. And then your stencil is going to kind of like start sticking to the paper. So at that point, you know you got pretty good coverage. So I'm just going to very gently peel that back. And then you can kind of see the design already on the paper. And now I'm just going to lay that piece of foil right on top. And then go ahead and smooth it on out. I'm going to go ahead and get my glue out of the way because I don't want to spill that. Because I will. And now I got to clean that stencil. We got to get the glue off the stencil. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab myself a baby wipe. Set that right on top. Just so I keep some moisture on that glue. And now I can go ahead and grab my carrier sheet and I can put my card panel right in there, and then I'm going to grab my ink. My ink has been heating up and I have it on number 3. And now I can go ahead and start running my card panel through, and I can go back and start cleaning up the stencil. That's the same thing that you'll see when you watch the video when I did the stamp. You want to make sure that you go ahead and start putting some cleaner onto the stamp or the stencil to make sure that the glue doesn't dry. And it doesn't take a lot of time to wipe and clean off your stencil or your stamp. Now, if you don't have time, then go ahead and put it into some soapy water just so it does not dry. You just don't want that glue to dry on your stencil or your stamp and have it ruined, and then you can't use it again. But you can see the amount of time it took for my card panel to go through my ink machine. I've already had the opportunity to clean up my mat. Easy peasy. All right, now everything is clean. I can go ahead and grab that out. Let me go ahead and move my ink machine out the way. I just like to kind of rub my card panel when it comes out. Just gonna remove it from the carrier sheet. And you can kind of already see the design through the foil before I even remove it. You can already kind of see the design. Can you see that? And now here's the magic. Ah, look how gorgeous that is. Oh, I swear, this is my favorite technique by far, using foil. I love the way it looks. You get all that beautiful rainbow color and that gorgeous design. So you can see here, I did this one kind of going across the card, and then I have this one going long ways across it. Absolutely stunning. Now let me show you something. You know, you're going to have a negative and a positive. So I use the negative. So I have a negative of this. I'm not going to throw this away. You're going to end up seeing this on another card. So do not throw this away, because I'm going to show you how to do that on another video soon to come. All right, so now we need to go ahead and make this into a card, because you can't just make this and then not do anything with it. So I'm going to bring in my cutter, and this is a Stampin' Up! One, and I'm just going to cut this down because I want to have a border around this. I really want to make sure that this panel pops, so I'm going to put this onto a background, maybe a pink or orange. I haven't decided. So after some thinking, I thought I would do it on like a nice burnt orange background, and that's really going to allow all these bright colors to really pop against that darker color. So I'm just going to use my ATG gun and put a hefty amount. Now, just because we use glue, it did not warp the paper. So don't worry about that. Like if you put down too much glue, your paper's going to warp. You're going to be fine. Look how gorgeous that looks. I love the reflection of this. Now you guys know me, I always use a white card base. That's just because it's easier for me to write inside. If I'm giving the card away for somebody to give to somebody else, it's also easier for that person to write inside. So very rarely will I ever use a colored card base. To me, it's just easier to just leave it white. That's just my thing. Doesn't have to be your thing, that's just my thing. All right, so now since I have my card together, absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I'm going to turn it this way, and now I want to put something, a sentiment across the top, like right in the middle. So I'm going to grab some great stamp sets from Sugar Pea Designs, and I'm also going to grab a die. You know, I'm all about the kindness thing. I think in 2017 we need to be kinder, a gentler, and warmer nation. That's just me and how I feel. We need to share happiness and love and sunshine and smiles. So a friend of mine on Periscope said we should hashtag everything, pass a hug and pass a smile. So that's what I'm going to be doing in 2017, passing hugs and passing smiles. So I just grabbed some black cardstock, and I'm just going to, I want to go ahead and heat emboss this in white. So I'm just going to line up my sentiment, and I'm using the We Are Memory Keeper Precision Press. Just going to go ahead and get that ready, and I'm going to grab some Versamark ink. And if you don't know what Versamark ink is, it's just a clear ink, and it's able to help you heat emboss your sentiments or your design or your stamp, whatever you're going for. And I'm just going to use some white, wow white, opaque white. It's really, really like a bright white embossing powder. Just going to sprinkle a little bit of that on, and I really think that black is really going to pop against all of this bright rainbow colorness. I love this. I love, love, love this foil. I love foiling anyway, but the rainbow, oh my God, it just has me. It just screams fun and happiness. So I'm just going to go ahead and heat my sentiment. I always like to start from the back and then bring it to the front so I don't blow off all of my powder. So I kind of start heating it from the back. It starts melting it, and then I bring it around to the front. All right, so now that is done, I'm going to bring back in my paper trimmer, and I'm just going to trim that off just so I have a nice black band around my sentiment. I don't think I want to trim it down because knowing me, I'll probably cut a little bit crooked. So I'm just going to stop right there before I would have to do this all over again. So I'm just going to line that up, leave me a border around there, and then I can go ahead and put this, and look how nice that black pops right against all that beautiful color. Absolutely love it. Now I'm going to go ahead and die cut out the sentiment. And I went ahead and die cut that in an orange as well. And then we're going to go ahead and put this card together. Now right here, for some reason, my camera died. Don't know what happened, but my phone went and it cut off how I just put the card together. But I'll briefly go through. All I did was I glued down the kindness, and I went ahead and glued down the sentiment strip. Now at this point, I'm just going to put on just a few sequins. Again, I'm using the same exact glue, that is the Art Glitter Glue, to put down my sequins. Yeah, that's what happens when you're filming. In the middle of it, your camera will just die. All right, and that is the card, you guys. What happiness. I love it. Show a little bit of kindness, you guys. And I will see you in the next video. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.